What's good, mi gente? It's your boy VestigeHero back at it again with another chapter review. Before I get started, I want to apologize for uploading this late. I initially planned to post this review somewhere around Friday night, but thanks to college finals and my job, I ended up knocking out right after I got home from work that day. However, this gave me time to wait out for the official Viz translations for me to review. Regardless, we have some crazy things to cover in this chapter, so let's jump right into it. If you like what you see, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It'd mean a lot. And again, I really do enjoy making these types of videos for you guys, and trust me when I say that I still have a lot more in store for you guys. This is only the beginning. At the end of the day, I'm here to provide you with only the best My Hero Academia speculation content. With that said, let's get right into today's topic. 294, the last stage, picks up right where we left off in 293. Once again, I stayed up this past Wednesday night to catch those saucy spoilers right when they dropped on Twitter. Ironically enough, I was also working on a research paper, so I ended up staying up the entire night, up until 10 a.m. actually, so yeah, that was something. Anyway, I know it's kind of off topic, but during the entire evening, we rarely got any significant spoilers. All I was able to find was a screenshot of a Reddit post detailing Dabi and Compress's supposed escape, and a few scans of Compress's mask. Of course, I remained skeptical about the screenshot, but the fact that we had multiple scans of Compress's mask made me question if this chapter revolved around him. If only I knew then how right I was about that prediction. The fact of the matter is that not only does chapter 294 revolve around Compress, but it also makes him a key player in the Paranormal Liberation War. If you're keeping up with my collab videos with Reaper, you'll know that I theorized that the villains were basically done for unless Horikoshi decided to pull a fast one over us. I figured that the chances of something like that happening would be slim. However, the Sly Dog decided to stick it to us once again and decided to give the villains an upper hand. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's jump right into the chapter. The first panel depicts the hero Crust, seconds before he passed away from saving Aizawa, while he donned that signature smile of his, accompanied by a thumbs up. From there, we're once again sent back to the present, where we see Aizawa, Miruko, Gran Torino, and Hawks being attended to by medics, after having been beaten and battered. The only three heroes who are still up and running are Manuel, Rocklock, and Present Mike, all of whom seem on high alert. From there, we see an unconscious Mount Lady, Midnight, and Endeavor as they lay flat on the ground while Deku collapses as well. However, we don't have much time to focus on them because we're then treated to a shot of a struggling Genist who credits all of the heroes who fought prior and states that thanks to all of their efforts, they were able to create a mighty rope. Genist even further states that had a single quote-unquote thread frayed, all would have been lost. It's then that we see a fallen Makia and the other Nomu being fought off by Nejire, Ida, and Lemillion, while Todoroki can be seen in the distance battling Toya in the middle of a burst of flames. Before we know it, the next panel zooms in on Lemillion fighting a near high-end Nomu within 4 shoulders. As our smiley boy lands a hook on the creature's brain, it promptly blasts him away in a wild frenzy, shattering the ground below in one straight shot, thus whisking the young hero away. Somehow managing to avoid the blow, Lemillion vocalizes his observations by saying that he understands why the heroes are having such a tough time. Though the Nomu make simple movements, their speed and strength are off the charts, incredible even. Though again, just like us readers, Mirio has no time to process what just happened, as the same Nomu charges at him once more, while another confronts Ida with its tentacle-like limbs, punching the ground into a million craters. Left with no other choice, Lemillion cries out, "Each one's gotta be just as strong as the Nomu in Kyushu! You don't want to get tagged by these guys!" Ida, taking his upperclassman's advice, then turns to face Bakugo, who is somehow still fighting, and says, "Great explosion murder god dynamite! You must retreat! You are in no state to take a hit from these things!" But all Bakugo can do is reply by coughing. His concern isn't fighting, rather it's to keep the Nomu off of Genist's radar by means of dodging, and truth be told, his role is critical as we see that both Nejire and Genist are wounded from strain. Shifting back to the villains atop Makia, we get that same shot of Compress's mask that I saw in the spoilers, though this time it's clear that he's in pain, and he's actually clenching his teeth from the tightness of the cables. According to his inner thoughts, Compress acknowledges the fact that he can't touch the wires due to the way that they are wrapped around his body, therefore he can't activate his quirk. The only thing he can touch is his own butt, and it's no help that Shigaraki is knocked out either. Keeping his gaze on his leader, Compress is quick to further add to his own thoughts by saying, "You summoned us together, did you not? Told us to run amok, right? What are we supposed to think when even your act is cut short? This amounted to a trap." Spinner's voice then echoes in his mind, "You still haven't destroyed a darn thing yet!" It's just like our associate Spinner says, "Dabi, young Toga, and I have yet to achieve our dreams." Fueled by his lack of fulfillment, Mr. Compress attempts to wriggle free from Genus's wires by using a special move called Blackout Bind, as he makes his first and final proclamation of love for the League to a squeezed out Spinner before going on one last mental monologue. Does our show end here? A collection of warped minds who never bothered prying into each other's pasts, just like a band of egotists? Tomura is the key, he yells out. Going back to his mind, he then says, the timing must be right, when the heroes are a bit farther and the Nomus are in optimal position. Going back to reality, he then shouts, I shall buy you 5 seconds, during which to rouse the boss, to Spinner. Admitting that he considers the League family, Compress willingly decides to sacrifice for them, an ultimate investment for their survival. Every decent performance requires a good assistant, he says before placing his fingers on his back pocket. We then see Compress's inner thoughts where he says, my dream, my blood, bound duty, the reason I am here. Though without warning we hear a pop, symbolizing that Compress activated his quirk. Breaking the flesh from his rear, he is then given enough wiggle room to move his arm and capture Shigaraki and Spinner as an alarmed Genus flashes a fearful expression while witnessing the villain's comeback. Don't believe for a single moment that you are the only ones giving your lives for a cause, Compress says while Emilian, Ida, and Nejire are left to watch his escape. Well, get ready for a taste of prime entertainment. And just like that, the Magic Act villain scales up Makia's back, bouncing from one giant spike to another. Genus then realizes that Compress's actions are reckless and yells out, that wound is fatal, you have no hope of escaping, before he binds the villain once more. Though without a single shred of hesitation, Compress grips his shoulder before breaking both it and the wires that bound him, thus propelling himself forward. It's here where we get another huge bombshell as Compress details the life of OG Harima, the peerless thief and a villain who targeted fraud heroes and returned what he stole back to the streets, kinda like Robin Hood. In fact, OG Harima was referred to as one of the greatest villains in history by Gentle Criminal during the UA Culture Festival arc alongside All For One and Destro. Regardless, it doesn't take long for Compress to have a flashback of his own in the form of words, memories which are very similar to Redestro's. Listen, Atsuhiru, our family's lineage is all about exposing injustice. The righteous blood runs in our veins. Unfortunately, we aren't treated to any further memories as the story shifts once more, though this time it's to Toya and Shoto. Without even a shred of hesitation, the flame villain overwhelms his little brother's flash fire fist with a jet burn as Shoto falls to the ground. Toya then apologizes, saying that Enji Todoroki isn't broken yet, and that if he passes out now, there's no point in continuing his performance, as he then reunites with Compress atop Makia. In a state of dismay yet calm, Compress weakly lowers his hand, revealing the orb he had entrapped his fellow league mates in. Harima, the reformation that you could not achieve, I now hand off to my boss, the Paranormal Liberation Fronts. No, the League of Villains. Shigaraki will change the world in my stead. And just like that, Compress rips off his mask, tossing it aside gloriously before proclaiming, I am Harima's great-great-grandson. The Bandit King's blood flows through me. What's that you say? Barely noticed me at all? All part of the act. It's all for the ta-da moment. And just like that, Compress stands tall while still on the verge of death, beaten and battered before tossing that orb away, thus releasing Shigaraki and Spinner before giving his last proclamation. That's the true trick. It's saved till the end. Voila! The curtain rises on the first and final escape performance of Mr. Compress. And thus, the chapter finishes with Mirio rushing towards the villains as an unconscious Shigaraki appears to be roused away. Truth be told, this changes things up so much. For one, we know that Compress isn't just a mindless villain who destroyed things for fun. Like the UA students, he had set goals and aspirations that he wanted to meet, not to mention fulfill the legacy of his great-great-grandfather. There's no doubt in my mind that Hero Society is in tatters, marred with false heroes. Again, we're lucky to have characters who are true heroes, but at the end of the day, they only make up a small fraction of what Hero Society is on a global scale. I do think that Compress could have been redeemable in the sense that he believed in a legacy that was fair. In a way, he wanted to do good like his great-great-grandfather by giving back to those who had been robbed. I don't think his character was done any justice by dying as a villain or becoming a villain in general. Rather, I think he could have better served the role as an anti-hero or vigilante, kinda like a knuckle duster. Anyway, what do you guys think? Could Compress have been better used as a character? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, if you've made it this far into the video, consider yourself an official Vestige. In order to lock it in, feel free to subscribe and join the VestigeHero agency. Thanks again for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go beyond plus ultra!